Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach. Old school.
Going to be stolen, I think, by the doctor. Yes, he's got it. Ray rocked the baby to sleep and slam dunk.
Stolen by Bird and the cut to DJ. Yeah! Buckle up for Kobe Bryant.
New era.
Oh! A jawbreaker! Curry way downtown. Bang!
It's all basketball.
A spectacular move by Michael Jordan.
Lace 'em up. It's time for 1010XL's Open Gym. Leading the break, here's RJ Saunders.
It is a Sunday morning. It's the basketball show. For the basketball fan, what's going on, you guys? Welcome into the Open Gym. So glad you're here with us, the Orlando Magic. Now looking to get back into the win column following their loss to the Knicks, who were red hot from behind the arc as Orlando got it handed to them in Madison Square Garden. Now you're going to be facing an Indiana team looking to move up in the standings. Gary Harris saying that every win is going to matter. I love this time of the year. And I love being able to talk about it with you guys on Open Gym. RJ Saunders here with you alongside Casey Dobson. We have a great show for you today. Kendra Douglas, the sideline reporter for the Orlando Magic, will join us at 11:15. She'll be talking about how the team is feeling today as they look to get back in the win column against the Indiana Pacers. And then we'll head to Houston at 11:30. We'll be talking to Joel Blank. He used to be the radio and TV voice of the Houston Rockets. Now he is a radio host at my former employer, ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. Talk about everything around the NBA. We'll also get into a little bit of Houston Rockets news and notes. Alperen Sengun really having a coming out party this year. How far are the Houston Rockets away from being a team that is on the cusp of what Orlando is doing, being one of those teams that's going to be a force to be reckoned with in the next couple of seasons? But want to ask this question before we get started here. I talked to Casey before the show, and we'll get into it a little bit later in the show. But I saw a post about NBA Live 2005. I believe that was the first game to really have the NBA All-Star Weekend, as well as the NBA Dunk Contest, which everybody loved playing. Want to know from you guys on the text line, 641-1010, what's your favorite basketball video game of all time? Quick, Casey, give me your favorite one.
Can you hear that?
NBA Jam.
There you go. Yeah, he's heating up.
Yeah,
he's
NBA.
on fire.
NBA Jam.
I love the little shush, like the sound effects that they had with the shuffling of the feet.
Yeah,
and then the
NBA Jam, one of the great basketball video games of all time. Me personally, NBA Street Volume 2. But we'll get into that later in the show. I want to get that from you guys on the text line, 641-1010. But let's get into our first topic, and I'll start it like this. Us in this generation, we're individuals that if we watch a lot of stuff on our computer, whether it's Netflix, YouTube TV, Hulu, or something like that, and before we get that dinner or that lunch that we're really looking to devour into, we're looking for the perfect show or the perfect video to watch before we start chowing down into that food. And for me, it's the old NBA TV show, Open Court. Do you remember that show? 7 former players that are now a part of the Turner family come around. They have a round table discussion. And I mean, we're talking, this show has stopped playing maybe over a decade ago. But I love listening to their expertise and what they have to say about the game, especially during that time, which feels like eons ago. However, there was a topic that came up that as if you were king for a day, Ernie Johnson's asking this to the panel, if you were king for a day and you were able to be the commissioner, what rule would you change in the NBA? And it's actually funny, the fact that out of everything that those guys named, Reggie Miller's is the only one that the NBA really made a rule, which is now the challenge rule that we have in the NBA, where teams get 2 challenges. But you had other individuals such as Steve Smith. He was talking about he would take away the 2-3 zone. Chris Webber, for whatever reason, said he would take away the charge rule in the NBA. Kenny Smith saying that he would get rid of the East-West brackets and would just have teams play against each other. And if the Lakers have a 7-game series against the Knicks, that's just how it goes. Who cares about the travel? At the end of the day, I'm going to get the 2 best teams. Shaq talked about wanting to have a penalty box. We're going to turn basketball into hockey. But in honor of March Madness coming up, Charles Barkley had a pretty decent rule change that got me thinking, because I think the NIL could help with this. So here's Charles Barkley and his idea, what he would do if he was king for a day.
I would make players stay in college at least 2 years. You know, one of the things that really hurt our game for a while was high school players coming to the NBA, and now guys only coming after 1 year. 2 years, I can live with 2 years. I would do that. I'd make kids have to go to college for 2 years.
Why, Chuck? Why 2?
Well, because as a player, I think the first year is new for you, obviously. And I think after the second year, you're a good enough player. You learned how to play the game a little bit, because you played against men more than 30 games. You played against men for 2 seasons, and you should have gotten stronger. So I really, 3, I think it's a stretch. If I could get 2, I would be really happy with that.
So, spoke about this with a friend after I had talked about the All-Star game a couple shows ago. And I agree with him, so I want to ask you guys. With the NIL now, is there a chance really for the NBA to kind of adopt what the MLB has done? Should it be either you declare that you're foregoing your eligibility out of high school, which means that you're either going to go to the NBA G League and do their program, or you're going to go overseas for a year, then declare for the draft, or you have to stay in college for at least 2 years. And it's an interesting thing to think about nowadays, because we talk about the game, and that's what we've done a lot. We've talked about the game and how much it's changed. But I really do think the NIL could help the NBA as well as help college basketball. I mean, granted, there's an argument that the college kids today are already getting their education paid for. What's the need for NIL? However, we're here now. And couldn't the NIL almost be this incentive to stay a few years? Let's just say the top guy is getting paid $500,000 in the NBA, actually in college basketball, mind you. And although that's not NBA money, you are getting paid to play the game of basketball. These kids are being looked at now as dang near professionals. However, the conundrum to me is that it is crazy to think a guy like Antoine Jamison can go on a podcast and say, a lot of these guys are getting to the NBA and we have to dang near reteach them the fundamentals of the game, how to set screens, how to give an entry pass, how to have your right hand in the deny position. And high school basketball and going into college, it just feels that there's this feeling of it's just an extra year of high school. I'm just doing this because I can't go to the NBA out of high school. But I do believe that it's damaging our game. I believe that the issue that a lot of former players have with today's American player, and when we get into this argument of American players versus European players, I understand that I bring up Kobe a lot, but he spoke on this. Gino Auriemma also spoke on this too, the women's basketball coach for UConn. But when Kobe talks about you have a guy that's in America, he's an athletic player. And for us, we all know that guy, that one athletic guy that's from the neighborhood. He can play 4 or 5 different sports. He's really good at basketball. Fundamentals really aren't the thing. He's able to separate himself from the competition due to his athleticism. And AAU has a big part to play with this as well, because all you're doing is trying to find the most athletic kids from each city. And now you play in 6 or 7 tournaments that you know college scouts are going to be at. And you're looking to blow out teams by 30 because you're more athletic. Not necessarily are you getting the best of the best players, but you're getting the best players in whom either guys are talking to you about, or that you know a guy who knows the kid. And so now you're not really practicing the game. You're not practicing the fundamentals. You're just going out there and playing essentially a bigger brand of pickup basketball because of what you're able to do in the future. A lot of these kids with going to college or playing overseas or playing in the NBA. But when Kobe talks about, and Gino Auriemma also spoke about this, a lot of the guys that are in America, where they struggle is when everyone else is now as athletic, if not more athletic than you, the game goes back to the fundamentals. And for every old head that's out there, isn't that what we all discuss and all talk about? That the game is just going to go back to the fundamentals at some point. Athleticism does separate you from many players. But these European players, as Gino Auriemma talks about, these European guys are practicing the fundamentals all summer. So they may play 1, maybe 2 tournaments instead of the 6 that we play here in America. But in those 2 tournaments throughout that summer, they're practicing the fundamentals 6 days a week. So when you see guys like Luka come into the league, guys like Joel Embiid come to the league, the first thing that scouts and media pundits are all talking about is how fundamentally sound those guys are. Kenny Smith talks about how Michael Jordan going to North Carolina and learning under Dean Smith, he was so fundamentally sound on top of his athleticism. That's what made him such a special player. If the NBA and college basketball, what we believe, are essentially working in lockstep with one another, and college is supposed to promote not only the teams, but now promote the player. If there's this guy that has been a social media sensation like Zion Williamson, college basketball should be promoting, hey, this is going to be the next wave of high school guys that are coming into college and that you're going to see for a couple of years and then go to the NBA. Here's where NIL comes into play for me. With the NIL, I believe that kids can at least get a decent education. They can start pocketing some of this money. And if you're not good enough, you can stay in college for, let's just say 3, maybe 4 years. And then it gives fans, it gives people like us a chance to see who's really going to be a game changer for our favorite team, whether it's the Orlando Magic, the LA Lakers, the New York Knicks, etc. Who's going to be a game changer immediately versus a guy we have to wait 2, 3, 4 years for. Quickly, just a couple things before we go to break. Bronny James is a guy that we've talked about ad nauseum. And LeBron has gone from just let him be a kid to he could play in the NBA right now. I won't play the sound, but Stephon Marbury said, I think he needs to spend another year in college, and there's no looking down upon that if he spends another year in college. Look at guys like Allen Iverson. He spent 2 years in college. Look at guys like Chris Webber. He spent a couple years in college. Jordan spent a few years in college. To be able to polish your game, to be able to become better at your game, so when you go to the league, you're not a 3, 4, 5 year project and you don't see the fruits of the labor if you're an NBA team which drafts a player coming out early. You're seeing the fruits of your labor immediately instead of now having to be a guy to say, we're drafting this guy based off his potential. You see what I'm saying? And with these high school players, with the high school guys, you know, Kevin Garnett talks about in 95, that's when he came to the NBA draft, in 1995. where guys like Christian Laettner and Grant Hill and Jamal Mashburn, and they were the guys that were supposed to be the forefront of the league when Jordan left, and some of those guys got in trouble early. Some of those guys were facing injuries early on in their career. All the high school guys were the ones that were really at the forefront of the league. They were holding the league down. Guys like Kevin Garnett, Dwight Howard, Kobe Bryant, Darius Miles. LeBron James comes into the league, sets it on fire. It's not the same game anymore. I just remember a time where you used to look at the Big East and that conference, and you used to fall in love with the teams, not just solely the players, because they weren't just going to Duke, Kentucky, North Carolina, etc. I think NIL could really help this if the NBA wants to talk about it. And you'll have guys that'll forego it. They'll go to the G League program. We've seen guys like Brandon Jennings. We've seen guys like LaMelo Ball go overseas for a year, then declare for the draft. And both of them had decent careers. Brandon Jennings did. LaMelo Ball's career is still being written, but it worked. I'm looking at the G League. Looks like it still needs a little bit of time. Jalen Green is the guy who's really been the star of that program to come from the G League to the NBA. But I think NIL and college basketball and the NBA really have an opportunity here to go from having players who are now being projects to maybe better basketball players once they get into the league. Am I crazy? Let me know on the text line, 641-1010. But the Orlando Magic have a game here in just a few hours. I believe we have it on 1010XL. Got you. Let's hear it before we go to break.
So we know that this is a basketball show, but we have breaking news. Adam Schefter is reporting that Mac Jones, yes, Mac Jones of the Bowl School, is being traded to Jacksonville.
Welcome home, Mac Jones.
Right?
Welcome home, Mac Jones.
Pretty crazy.
641-1010. Let us know what you think about the football news here on the basketball show. But when we come back, the Orlando Magic have a game here in the next few hours. I believe we have it here on 1010XL, pregame, in-game, and postgame, beginning at 5:30. Kendra Douglas joins us to talk about what's the feel of the team after the loss against the Knicks and how they're looking to get back to their winning ways. That's next on Open Gym here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
What's the deal with the show?
The 1010XL Podcast Network is now available just about everywhere you find podcasts.
I mean, I think the show's going to be a huge hit.
Search for your favorite 1010XL podcast in your platform of choice.
Get ready for the Players' Championship, March 12th through 17th at TPC Sawgrass. Don't miss your chance to watch the PGA Tour's best compete to etch their name in history while enjoying a vibrant social scene. From local bites to the latest merchandise available in the PGA Tour fan shop, The Players offers the ultimate experience for everyone to enjoy. Secure your spot today. Tickets are on sale now at theplayers.com.
Hi, I'm Juliana Leach.
And I'm Dominic Clayton.
We are proud First Tee North Florida participants.
Thanks to the Players for supporting First Tee
And the thousands of participants like us
who are becoming game changers on
and off the course.
2 days until the Players.
Any action? Find more fish on the Ring Power Fishing Forecast Show.
That's a big redfish, guys.
With Captain Kevin Faber.
Oh, my gosh.
Brought to you by Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Thursday nights at 6.
On 1010XL AM.
Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute is the sports medicine leader in Northeast Florida. We're proud to be the official sports medicine provider for your hometown teams, including the Jaguars, Sharks, Axemen, and the Jumbo Shrimp. We have the most cutting-edge resources for sports medicine care, including Active Armor casting, Alter-G anti-gravity treadmills, and highly trained physicians and athletic trainers. JOI is truly where the pros go, and so should you.
Is your roof showing signs of wear and tear? Call Universal Roof and Contracting today to schedule your complimentary roof inspection. Right now, get $200 off your roof replacement plus flexible financing. And as a bonus, receive free window mitigation with a full roof replacement. This offer expires March 31st and restrictions apply. Universal Roof and Contracting, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
UniversalRoof.com. Find the Celt in you. March 9 and 10 at the St. Augustine Celtic Music and Heritage Festival with 10 top Celtic bands, Highland Games, the original St. Patrick Parade and much more. CelticStAugustine.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Take your shot. It's Open Gym on 1010XL.
Without question, one of the best songs out there in the entire world. The Orlando Magic have taken not only the NBA world, but probably in the entire world by storm with this song, looking to get back to their winning ways as they play the Indiana Pacers tonight. And here to speak with that with us is Kendra Douglas. She is the Orlando Magic team reporter and also works with Bally Sports Florida. Ms. Kendra, thank you so much for joining us.
Hello there. Thank you for having me on this morning.
Absolutely. So this team has gone from maybe you hope they would be in the playoffs via the play-in tournament, but now they're the 5 seed in the East. And, I mean, Gary Harris is saying that they're playing for postseason basketball right now, so every win matters. What's been your thoughts on the team this season?
I think it starts honestly from last season. At the end of last season, you could tell that the guys were very much more hungrier than they were before, and they went into this season saying, like, it's playoff or bust. You know, this was the mindset for them. They want this so much, and throughout the season, I remember when we went on that 9-game win streak, and when we lost one of them, some of the players were like, look, like, this is part of the process as well. It's a very long season, but it matters the most, you know, after All-Star break. And you're seeing that after All-Star break, this team has truly challenged themselves, challenged each other to really put out their best performance. And even though, you know, we had the slip up with the Knicks, I think that this team is very much putting on their best performance to really make that playoff run.
Absolutely, because although you had the tough loss to the New York Knicks, I'm looking at teams such as New York and teams such as Cleveland, and those teams have been spoken about ad nauseum this season by individuals in the media. But this Orlando Magic team, doesn't it feel to you that they could hurt a team's feelings in the first round, such as a New York or a Cleveland?
Yeah, without a doubt. I for sure think that. You saw how they played against them, you know, on even bad days and even good days. I mean, when you look at this team and just how much they've overcome and how much they continue to fight for one another, you definitely are understanding that they're playing for each other. And I think that makes a difference. When you're playing for each other, when you're having, you know, moments, I mean, we saw when Paolo was really sick and everyone just kept fighting for him and battling it out for him. And that's what this team just does. They rally for each other. They want to do well this season, and you can feel it. And I think it's just a different level this year. You truly can feel it when you walk into the gym. They're having fun. These guys are enjoying each other. They're a great group. So it's definitely a different vibe this season.
Absolutely. Kendra Douglas, the Orlando Magic team reporter, joining us here on the program. So the NBA on TNT had a question that I want to flip and ask you. They asked about Luka Doncic in his future. How many MVP awards do you think that he's going to win in his career? However, I have to admit, Paolo Banchero has made a giant leap from year one to year two, and he's leading the charge for this group. In your opinion, how many MVPs would you foresee in his future? Because it's apparent that he's going to continue to make strides and become a better player for this ball club.
That's a tough one. I think definitely more than 2. I think the reason why is because I think he challenged himself this year to figure out what he needed to do better from last year to this year. You're kind of put in a position, you know, when you're rookie of the year, all eyes are on you.
Right.
all right, what are you going to do next? Like, what's next?
Right.
And I think for him, he definitely challenged himself to perform at a higher level. You can just see how much he's grown, and you can see how much he's continuously changing and improving the little things here and there for him to execute on the court. And I wouldn't be surprised within these next couple of years if you just see him continue to dominate. I mean, why not? He's put himself out there for that. He's constantly in the gym. He's constantly working for this team. When I was talking to him early in the season about what makes this team just tick and what, he loves about it, he talked a little bit about how, they have that thing, the brotherhood at Duke. And he said, going into the NBA, he was told, it's not like that in a sense. It's very much a business. It's very much, you got to get yourself together. You got to get your own. And when he joined this Magic squad, he said he felt that brotherhood. And I think that's why he flourished off of it. And I think that's why he's the guy that you look to for the last shot. He wants to play for that brotherhood. Right. So I think you could see more than two in his future for sure.
Staying on Paolo, is there a player comp, being the basketball head that you are, is there a player comp for Paolo? I mean, Jamal Mosley says that Banchero can pass like LeBron James. He can score like Carmelo. You're hearing in some articles that there are individuals that see a little bit of Jason Tatum in his play. But being the hoop head that you are, is there a comp that you see when you watch Paolo?
So recently, I do think it's LeBron. It's funny you mentioned that. What game? I forgot. We've been on the road for so long.
Yeah.
I was thinking about which game, and I remember he was doing something in a game, and I was just like, oh, my gosh, that looks exactly like LeBron James out there. Like, It was weird. It's just weird to see that. Like, not weird in a bad way, but, it's so cool. It's so cool to see him. And I think Melo is definitely in one of the guys who you see, like, spurts of. It's funny because I don't think I've really paid attention to that until – you hear it, and then you do see it, and you're like, oh, my God, that is creepy how cool that is. Right. Like, he feeds off of it, and I think he's finding himself as well. So I think, LeBron James is probably the one that I would compare him to, but I think that you do see a little bit of Carmelo Anthony in him. But recently I've seen some of the steps he's been saying as LeBron James. You've seen that in him a lot. We
may have LeBron James on our hands here in Orlando, ladies and gentlemen. That's coming from Kendra Douglas, the Orlando Magic team reporter. So I've had Dante Marchitelli on. We've also had Jeff Turner on, but I haven't been able to ask them this question as of yet. We talk about veteran leadership, and it works wonders for rosters, and it's been a lost art in the NBA because there aren't really many of those veterans that you have on the team that have seen a lot in the NBA, and they come to a young team, teach them how to be a pro, teach them how to be better at the game, understand the game within the game. To have a guy like Joe Ingles on this team, what has it meant to this young ball club? Because for me, I think it's been a godsend.
I think what's really cool is Joe will come off the bench sometimes, and he'll just grab one of the players like who might be in the game and just start talking to him, and they listen and they gravitate to what he's saying. I think he's a jokester on the team, so you kind of get just the fun vibes from him. But I think it's been really cool that when Mosley's coaching these guys, Joe can come up and they listen to him as well, and they need that. I mean, let's say the oldest, but like the most veteran seasoned guy we have on this team that still stayed is J.I. And so he's seen a lot, and he's been around a lot too. And I think they both feed off of each other as well, because J.I. knows what this team has been like. He's seen the vision as well. But then you have someone like Joe Ingles come in as well and help out in that way to really transform. And you can see that he's very a selfless player. When he's on the court, there are opportunities that he could take, but he definitely wants to see his other teammates shine. And that's been really cool to see from Joe Ingles on this team.
Absolutely. Final moments with Kendra Douglas. She is the Orlando Magic team reporter. Okay, so many of us here in Northeast Florida, we've been so excited to see this team playing well and winning the way they are. We're having games on the radio side here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. and you have the Orlando Magic theme song being played and sung by guys like Shaq on NBA on TNT. I mean, we haven't seen this Magic team be a competitive group in quite a while. However, I want to ask you, with you being there, what has this meant to the city of Orlando? Like, what's the vibe like in the city and in the arena when fans and supporters are able to watch this bunch be as great as they are this season?
Oh, I think it means the world. I think, you have the older Magic fans who are saying things like, oh, my God, I remember these moments. I remember this.
Right.
I remember with Dwight. I remember with Shaq. Like, you have the older ones who are kind of like, oh, my God, we're getting so close. I feel it. And then you have the newer ones who are just kind of like, I've never seen this before. Like,
Absolutely.
this is cool. So I think it means a lot to the Orlando Magic organization. I think it means a lot to Orlando. We have a theme song that, is played nonstop. I think Josh Hart, after, they just said, I just didn't want to hear the theme song being played.
Yeah.
So when it impacts other teams like that, that says a lot. And I think that quote went viral because now it's something that Orlando can say, like, that's what we got. Like,
right.
That's what we have. And so it's cool. It's fun. It's a fun time to be a Magic fan. I think that's been the best part of it. It's a fun time. And you're seeing that when this team is locking in and buying into this coaching staff, that they are really putting together, their best performance. And it's been I think Mo said this one time, it's a 3-year process that they've been in, and
Absolutely.
As long as we stick together with their process, they're going to show that they understand it. So it's been big for the city of Orlando, for sure, without a doubt. I think I see more fans wearing Magic gear than I have in my past 3 years living here.
We hope that the song continues to be played throughout the second half of the regular season, and Kendra Douglas will be there for it throughout the second half of the year. She's the Orlando Magic team reporter. Ms. Kendra, thank you so much for coming on, and we're hoping for a win tonight against Indiana.
Yes, thank you for having me on, and let's go Magic.
There she goes, Kendra Douglas, Orlando Magic team reporter. It's a new day in Orlando. New day here in Northeast Florida if you're an Orlando Magic fan. We've been talking about it ad nauseum. This is a very good ball club. They can get the 4 seed. I know that you had a tough loss against the Knicks, but you may be able to surprise a couple folks in the playoffs, and I think that's only going to help in seasons to come for the Orlando Magic. We'll step aside here for a quick break. Going to try to locate Joel Blank. He's the former radio and TV voice of the Houston Rockets. You can also hear him from 3 to 6 Eastern time on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. He's one half of the Killer Bees. Going to talk with us about Alperen Sengun and also the NBA at large. That comes up next on the Open Gym, 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Excelling in the classroom and the sports arena is quite an accomplishment. That's why 1010XL salutes the Scholar Athlete of the Week.
Wednesdays on The Frangie Show, brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists and the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local Union 234.
How's Wingstop sound? Crispy, juicy, classic wings. Made to order, cooked to perfection, and sauced and tossed in those 11 soul-satisfying flavors. Paired with hand-cut seasoned fries, house-made honey mustard, blue cheese, or signature Wingstop ranch. And, of course, spicy Cajun fried corn. I think you've heard enough. Get your flavor delivered at wingstop.com.
Prosser here. When it comes to the business of selling your home, there's one promise I can give you that will deliver, and that promise is ChadandSandy.com. That's Chad, A-N-D, Sandy.com. How do I know this promise is guaranteed? Because they say so and then they deliver. You see, Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. So whatever problems you think you're having selling your home, there is your simple solution. They're going to buy it if it's not sold for exactly what you want. Mortgage rates have lowered going into the spring selling season. Now is the time to maximize your equity, and you can do it with the real estate team of Chad and Sandy. They have a plan and the experience to sell your home fast for maximum cash this spring. John and Ursula in Green Meadows wrote in, we weren't in great health, decided to downsize to an easier place to manage. After 185 days, our home failed to sell. We went to Chad and Sandy, sold in 12 days. You can too at chadandsandy.com.
15,000 workers. I'm Brian Rose from Remedy Staffing. We survey 15,000 blue-collar workers each year to better understand what drives quality and dependability in our workforce. The survey shows when looking for a new job, the initial pay rate, job security, and safety while working are the most important factors for hourly workers. If you're an employer and would like to learn more about the voice of the blue-collar worker, please call us at 904-528-1933.
It's hard to explain, but play-by-play just sounds better on the radio.
What a turn of events!
1010XL, Jacksonville's home for play-by-play.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
This is Keith Catlin for Catlin Truck Accessories, and we are so blessed to be in business for over 100 years. Over 100 years of the best product and customer service means you can count on Catlin. From Roll and Lock bed covers to Lear toppers to Cam Locker toolboxes, Catlin Truck Accessories has you covered when it comes to your truck or van. We do those too. Got a fleet of vehicles? We can outfit them all.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
One name, one location, 100 years. You can count on Catlin.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville, your courtside on Open Gym on 1010XL.
1010XL and 92.5 FM Open Gym. RJ Saunders here with you. Glad you guys are on with us here on a Sunday. Welcoming in Joel Blank. He's the host on ESPN 97.5. He's one half of the Killer Bees. You can hear from 3 to 6 Eastern time here on, 3 to 6 Eastern time here on Twitch, if you would like to listen to them. He's also the former radio and TV voice of the Houston Rockets. Also spent some time in Portland with the Blazers. So kind of us to join the program. Joel, glad to have you on, man. How are you?
I got next, man. I got next run. Let's go.
Absolutely, man. Wanted to speak with you on the Rockets here before we go around the association. I mean, the national media is getting more and more of a taste of Alperen Sengun, and he's a guy that continues to be a problem for opposing teams in the league. I just wanted to know what's been your thoughts on Alpy this season?
I think the biggest thing, RJ, since you were here, to what he's been able to do this year is coaching. You actually have a coaching staff in place.
I got you.
Steven Silas was basically running amok, and he was being controlled by the general manager, and there was really all these young guys were just not getting the coaching and development that they sorely needed with a young nucleus like they had. And Sengun was the first one to say it. When he said it publicly when he had a good game, and they said, what's the biggest difference? The question you just asked me. And he said, honestly, coaching. He's like, I'm getting the coaching and I'm understanding what I need to do. And now he's a double-double waiting to happen. He's getting comparisons to being a poor man's Joker, and I wouldn't go that far yet. But I would say that what we've been able to see about who he can truly be has taken him to a level where he's in a discussion about the top 5-ish centers in the league just based on stats and ability.
What grade would you give Ime Udoka in his first season with the Houston Rockets?
To me, it's hard not to give him an A of some sort, A- if you want to get a little picky, because there's still hurdles to overcome. Like Jalen Green has just finally, in my opinion, bought in and turned the corner, because Jalen Green was the last guy to believe that if I gave the ball up, there'll be a better opportunity for me to get it back. And when I touch it, I don't have to shoot it.
Right.
But, they won 22 games in an entire season a year ago. They've already surpassed that. So you've surpassed the team in wins. We've seen the development of a lot of the young players we hadn't seen. And for those reasons alone, and with him and his coaching staff, I got to give them an A-. Obviously the record could be better, but it's a tough West.
Absolutely. Joel Blank, our guest. He's one half of the Killer Bees on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5 in Houston. One more Rockets question for you. How many years away do you feel that the Houston Rockets are before we see them as a playoff team and a legitimate threat in the West.
Yeah, threat in the West might be a few years. Okay. I think that they've got, a lot of young talent. You're seeing Cam Whitmore,
right.
Amen Thompson, guys that are maybe a year or two from really showing us their true ceilings. But I think that next year they should be able to fight for the play-in. I think that it's fair to think that. I think the biggest criticism would be Dylan Brooks is a nice player. Dylan Brooks should not have been paid $90 million for 4 years. Fred VanVleet, he's going to do just fine. It's a shorter-term contract. You had to spend the money.
Right.
He's a coach on the floor. He's fine. But now with the Rafael Stone, the general manager's contract coming up soon, there's a lot of general managers that are knocking on the door going, I'd like to take that team to the next level, because Stone doesn't have any basketball experience prior to this job except for being a lawyer in the front office, whereas general managers that see the talent on this roster go, man, with the money to play with cap space, some assets with draft capital, with Brooklyn's pick coming up, and the guys they got, this team should be able to take a pretty big step in the next couple of years.
Before we get to around the association, I got to talk to you real quick about Jalen Green. And, I mean, I love his game. I've loved him even when I was in Houston for that year and a half. And it seems like he's had a year that's been up and down, and there are reports out there as to why. But Kelly Iko talks about he had clear frustrations this season. He's also not looked happy when he's been sat in pivotal moments and in fourth quarters by Ime Udoka. Are you worried at all about the future of Jalen Green in the Houston Rockets uniform?
Yeah, I think I'm not worried as much about his basketball ability and playing in the league as I am, like, how does it all sort out here? Because you're right, and you saw it firsthand. The guy's got talent, right? Basketball skill alone, just talent.
Yeah.
It's there. But here's the problem that we face with AAU in this country, and that is that AAU players, all they run is isolation. They give the best kid on the floor the ball, and they say, go get us buckets. That's fine in AAU. That's fine when you're younger. And then in high school and their 1 year of college, they try to do the same thing because they know they're not going to have him for long, and they want the kid to be happy. But by the time he gets to the league, all he knows is, I'm the man, give me the ball, get out of the way, I got to go get mine. And when you get to the league, you realize it's a whole new universe, and that's not how they play basketball when money's on the line.
Right.
And he's had the biggest adjustment, right, because he's gotten crushed when he's played badly. And you're right. You're absolutely spot on. The body language when the ball doesn't go in, when he doesn't get a foul call, 3/4 of the season, if he's rolling, he's the best teammate in the world. If he's struggling, we all know it, they all know it, and he's going to be basically checked out for you for the rest of the game. So that's why I said it's taken him the longest to kind of buy in. But in these last say 5-6 games, you've seen him kind of unleash low turnovers, assists, rebounds, where he realizes, hey, I might go 1 for 10 from 3, but I still could get 23 points and grab 6 rebounds and have some dimes because I know that I'll get it back. My teammates will pick me up, and this is part of a bigger thing.
Absolutely. Joe Blank, our guest, host on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. He's one half of the Killer Bees. All right, a couple of questions around the association for you. Is it time to have serious conversations about teams such as Minnesota, Oklahoma City, Cleveland, New York, Orlando, just a few of those teams that maybe we didn't foresee what we've seen this season from those teams? Is it time to have serious conversations about those squads being legitimate contenders, if not this year, in the years to come?
I think in the years to come, for sure. I think this year you saw the cream of the crop. You see Boston, you see Denver. When those two teams play, they play basketball at a different level, and they have skill positions all over the place. But you can't take away from the teams you mentioned. The biggest thing for them this year is going to be how many of those guys on that roster have playoff experience,
right.
And when they get their experience, is it going to be at the cost of losing a series or losing some games that you might otherwise win? Because there's no denying there's talent. And then the other thing you got to factor in is injuries. Brunson's injury followed up by before Randall's injury. Before that, you've got a lot of injuries in New York. You know, Oklahoma City can't afford any injuries because they're deep with role players, but you know that whole engine is SGA, and you know that they need him to go a long way.
Right.
And then you talk about Minnesota. If you lose Karl Anthony Towns and you lose one half of the Twin Towers, that changes everything in terms of your inside presence and your ability to dominate defensively and on the boards. Because we know that Ant-Man is unbelievable. But those are the kind of things we're talking about for this playoff run for them. This is just the beginning. They're just scratching the surface. but they're all for real. And who'd have thought that in maybe 2 to 3 years, we're not talking about Boston's and LA's and big-time teams like that, Golden State's. We're talking about Oklahoma City and, like you said, Orlando, New York, those Minnesota, those type teams.
Absolutely. And you brought up the Celtics as well as the Denver Nuggets, and they just played a few nights ago. Was that a preview of the NBA Finals? Is that what we should expect to see out of the East and out of the West, the Celtics versus the Nuggets in the NBA Finals?
See, from a Denver standpoint, I just feel like just what we just talked about, the young teams that might be challenging them, the only team I would take OKC and Minnesota out of it and say if Denver doesn't go, it's only because the Clippers put it together because there's just too much veteran leadership and experience on the Clippers versus the young teams that I think are going to falter in their first legitimate chance to chase a chip.
Okay.
On the flip side, Milwaukee's starting to put it together. They're dangerous because they have the two big guys at the top, and they've got some good role players too. And we know Lopez can kind of be a big that can make a difference. But if Boston doesn't, it's probably because Milwaukee put it together enough to play defense to be able to hang in that series. But otherwise, I think those are the two clear-cut favorites to meet in the finals. And we've seen two really good games when they've played. And the difference, again, is you're working in a Porzingis. You're getting Holiday accustomed to things. Different guys in Boston's rotation. Denver is who they were, and they're still going to be there doing the same things they've done, and they won a chip. So I think that those are probably the two legit favorites.
Okay. Joel Blank, our guest, he's the host on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5 in Houston, one half of the Killer Bees. Okay, final moments with you. Who's your MVP, in your opinion, this season?
Man, it's a great question because it could come down to so many. I mean, if Oklahoma City keeps winning, SGA's got to be in the conversation just because no one expected it and because his numbers, all-star numbers, averaging 30, doing what he needs to do. I think that I'm thinking a little differently than most because I hear that the Joker is, again, at the top of the list, and rightfully so. Mm-hmm. He's having another phenomenal year. But if you just want to look at guys that deserve their first legit shot, I think SGA, I think Luka. I think two guys that, Luka and Kyrie a year ago, they were oil and water. And Luka was, as unhappy playing basketball as he's ever been, and he expressed that. Luka, when he's on the floor at any single time, can actually take over a game all by himself.
Right.
And that's something even SGA probably doesn't have fully in his repertoire the way Luka does. I would say that if I'm looking for kind of outsiders that could sneak in, I think it's those two guys. I think it's Luka and SGA. I think the favorite is still going to be the Joker just because he does so much to fill up a box score every night, and his team's really good.
Absolutely. That is Joel Blank. He is the host of the Killer Bees, which you can hear on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5 in the city of Houston. Joel, thank you so much for coming on the program today. Also, good luck. Today, are you still coaching the softball team today?
Trash Pandas, baby. Trash Panda softball. We won the first one. We got another one in about 20 minutes.
Absolutely. Good luck with all that. And hopefully we can do this again down the road, Joel. Thank you.
Anytime, buddy. Have a good one.
There he goes. Joel Blank. Amazing basketball head. So glad we were able to have him on the program. So, once again, as we've been doing these last couple of weeks, we do have an Orlando Magic ticket giveaway that we'll be doing once we get back from the break, and also an announcement for our past 3 winners and future upcoming winners. Don't know what I'm talking about? Good. You'll find out after the break.
Everything you need to know about your Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaguars Today with Mike Dempsey and Fat Tony.
Jaguars Today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios.
Every weekday from 10 to noon on 1010XL.
Committed to the mission. At Navy Mutual, we're committed to providing high-quality life insurance to members of the military and their families. Because at Navy Mutual, our highest commitment is to you. Visit NavyMutual.org.
For Canine Veterans Day, Navy Mutual would like to salute all active and retired canines that have served our country. Canine Veterans Day has been officially designated as a day to honor these unique members of our military. America salutes you.
Pross, I'm thinking about changing my name.
Again? You're already the media mogul, the straw that stirs the drink, the Duke of Pablo Bay. Now what?
Refer to me as Dreamfinders Danny Hicken.
What in the blazes? Is this a cash grab?
No, it's just that I believe so much in Dreamfinders Homes. 20 locations in Northeast Florida, official home builder of Jags and Gators. Great opportunity for first-time homeowners.
All right, Dreamfinders Danny it is.
Did I mention the lowest interest rates you can find? Visit DreamfindersHomes.com. Now let Dreamfinders Danny celebrate through the majesty of song. Dreamfinders,
oh, brother.
I believe they will build your home just right.
Imagine waking up this time next week and being 100% debt-free. No credit cards, no car loan, no personal loan. Hey, it's Prosser here, and Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit can make that happen. Homeowners are turning their home equity into cash almost instantly. With Loan Pronto's AI-based system, you can get approval in about 10 minutes with almost no documentation, no appraisal, and no hassle. You can get hundreds of thousands of dollars out of your home. Use that money to pay off all your other loans. The average homeowner saves over $850 a month doing this. Listen, your home value's way up. You can use that to wipe out all those credit cards, get some money for a home improvement. Literally hundreds of thousands are at your fingertips, and approval is just minutes away. So call now, 904-999-1508, 904-999-1508. That's loanpronto.com at 904-999-1508. NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, equal housing lender.
Get Gators play-by-play on 1010XL. Brought to you by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And Renewal by Anderson, the official window and door replacement partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. A slice of home, no matter how far from Jacksonville life takes you.
It's a miracle!
Download the 1010XL and XL 92.5 FM apps for free on Apple and Android devices to listen anywhere in the world.
Brian and Angela Wall here with Window World. By now, everyone has heard about saving money on their energy bills. There are all sorts of things you can do to cut energy costs, but most people don't think about their windows.
But Window World knows that the biggest energy loss in almost every home is the windows. There is more energy loss from old builder-grade windows than just about anything else in your home.
You can upgrade your heating and air, your appliances, that's good too. But before you do all that, upgrade your windows to Window World's energy-efficient windows.
Window World's windows are easy to clean, energy efficient, and have the best guarantee in the business.
Window World's slogan is simply the best for less, and we mean it. You get great American-made windows, and you get to keep more of your money when you buy from Window World. Need any more reasons to buy your windows from Window World? Call them today and set up your free in-home estimate, or go online to windowworldneflorida.com.
Window World,
simply the best for less. Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors. Imagine driving a late-model Corvette, BMW, Mercedes, Lexus, Honda, Chevy, Ford, and more, all at a fraction of the original sticker price. Visit Vaughn Motor Group's indoor showroom and browse a great selection of dream cars that are inspected with warranties. Before you make your next auto purchase, check out Vaughn Motor Group on San Jose Boulevard or at vaughnmotorgroup.com for a complete inventory listing. If you can dream it, you can drive it at Vaughn Motor Group.
Bolt City Heating and Air is truly a family-owned and operated local company and treats all customers like family. Don't be fooled by the out-of-towner equity firms and national corporations that use local names. There's one name you can trust when it comes to your home's heating and cooling system. Bolt City Heating and Air. Jacksonville grown and entirely loyal to this community. Schedule your winter maintenance by visiting BoltCityAC.com.
Hey gang, Hicken here. March is Workplace Eye Wellness Awareness Month. Here's a tip for those in front of a computer all day. Follow the 20-20-20 rule. Set a timer as a reminder to look 20 feet away every 20 minutes for 20 seconds. This can be as simple as looking away from your computer screen or out the window. If virtual meetings keep you in your seat for extended time, shut your eyes for 20 seconds. Call or visit BowdenEye.com today to schedule your consultation. Bowden Eye, keeping the First Coast focused.
Hey, this is David here with Royal Pest Services. Do you have that room in the house that is just too cold in the winter and just too hot in the summer? To learn about our pest-rated insulation, visit RoyalPestServices.com or call 886-2847.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Back to the action on Open Gym on 1010XL.
Basketball, gimme,
No,
gimme,
when it
gimme
comes
the
to
ball, because I'm gonna dunk it.
basketball video games,
Basketball, gimme, gimme, gimme the ball.
who did NBA Jam? I know that wasn't Midway Sports, but I'm getting to a point here. Midway Sports had the NBA on NBC, NBA Showtime. Had Shaq on the cover. Do you guys remember that? And the NBA on NBC had the theme song there. I remember that video game. I love the stuffing out of that video game. 641-1010. Let us know your favorite basketball video games of all time. Okay, so we do have 2 tickets plus a swag bag this week and moving forward for the winner of our giveaways. 641-1010 at 11:57. Call into the program, and the tickets plus the swag bag is yours. However, now we have a twist with all of this. Congratulations to George, Kendall, and Robbie. Those 3 have been winners of our giveaways in the past 3 weeks since we've been doing this. There is a big prize at the end of the Open Gym, which we're looking towards the NBA Finals. The Orlando Magic have gifted us an autographed basketball, which will all be yours. There will be one selected winner from those who win throughout the duration of the Open Gym as we air, and we'll select one name out of that group. And if your name is selected, the autographed basketball is yours. But tonight's game, that is against the Indiana Pacers, we're giving away 2 tickets plus a swag bag to the Orlando Magic's game on March 17th against the Toronto Raptors in about 2 minutes at 11:57. 641-1010. And those tickets are yours. And now you'll also be entered in to the finals of potentially receiving an autographed basketball. All right, so I kind of want to stay with basketball video games for just a second before we get out of here and you guys can enjoy the rest of your Sunday. So I said NBA Street Volume 2 is my favorite. I mean, I had a lot of memories with my dad. We used to play the stuffing out of that game. I believe that was 2004, I want to say that came out. An amazing video game that anybody could pick up. However, there are a couple of more video games for me that I love playing. Basketball-wise, growing up as a kid, quiet as kept, at least for me. There used to be a Sony exclusive video game entitled NBA 06, featuring The Life Volume 1. It was a trilogy. The third one wasn't all that great, but the first 2 was actually great with the cutscenes and the story about a young rookie going through the pre-draft workouts to making the NBA as a second-round pick, and you figure out the ups and downs of what it is to be an NBA pro. Love that one. I don't know how many people feel about NBA Ballers, but NBA Ballers was a great game. Another game that anybody could pick up and just play for hours. And you're playing at the homes of NBA players such as Stephon Marbury or Tim Duncan or Kevin Garnett, individuals like that. That was a fun game as well. I like the second rendition, which was NBA Ballers Phenom. That was Chauncey Billups was on the cover of that game. Absolutely enjoyed that game as well. I liked 3 NBA Live games, 3 of them in succession, 2003, 2004, and 2005. That was pretty much it for me. Then 2K became all the rage. Now NBA 2K is more pay to play now. It's no longer just fun and able to pick up. I miss those old school games. NBA Jam on many people's list may be number 1 But the nostalgia feeling of playing a lot of those video games and seeing that post on Twitter of NBA Live 2005, just thought I would throw that out to you guys. And just absolutely love the old school nostalgic video games. Hopefully they can remaster some of these old video games so that you can play them on the newer consoles. That's going to do it for us. Casey Dobson, you can follow him on Twitter at CD_player84. Also have a podcast of his own, I believe. Have a baseball podcast, Casey does.
Yeah.
Make sure to listen to that on YouTube. Bro. I am RJ Saunders. This has been Open Gym on a Sunday. We'll talk to you next Sunday during the Players' Championship. We'll also talk about the happenings within college basketball. Until then, have a good Sunday.
Give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach a man to fish, and he's listening to the Nimnicht Outdoors Show.
With tips and stories.
Presented